And what I find interesting is that when you look at the universe on a big scale, it's mostly all spheres and circles. And then when you look on a real small scale, like if you look at atoms, do you guys know what atoms are?
Yes.
Where you have like an atom and you have like electrons circulating around protons in the center and neutrons. And those are, again, circles. And so on a large scale and on a small scale, circles and spheres are pretty much the primary kind of building shape. And it's only when you look at the scale kind of in between, the scale that we're at, that you get other shapes that come into play. And so that whole concept of scale to me is very fascinating because it depends on what size and at what proportion you look at things or you observe things around in nature. And so looking at spheres and circles, they always fascinated me because they're kind of that primary building block. And when I look at them, you know, kind of the way I drew them here, they're not perfect circles. Sometimes they distort and they become other shapes, like an egg, and that's why I was passing the egg around, because the egg for me is interesting because it's kind of like a sphere but with like a direction to it, because of the fact that it tapers down on one side and narrows down. And so when I look at these things, I ask myself, I try to question and constantly ask questions like why things are the way they are, rather than just kind of accepting them as they are. And so this is a little clay model that I made, and this one was just kind of like looking at an egg shape and just carving into it and trying to see if there was anything I could do with the shape of an egg, and just kind of like study it. And so I made a bunch of these. This is just one example of it, but a bunch of different carvings that I made in shapes